Life is hectic. From juggling multiple responsibilities at work and home to financial uncertainty, navigating interpersonal relationships, and trying to achieve goals, life can be pretty damn demanding. Especially in modern times, as the interconnectedness of our era lends itself to a constant barrage of heartbreaking news cycles and global crises. Meanwhile, social media presents us with 1,000,001 ways to confront our insecurities while comparing our lives to people we may or may not even really know. That's why mental wellness is so important. It gives us the courage and the resilience to face the day. Sadly, access to quality behavioral health services is severely lacking for the average American worker. To put things into perspective, here's what we're dealing with. Despite being one of the richest, most advanced nations in the world, the U.S. still has not adopted a robust enough national healthcare system to benefit its citizens. The only attempt that came close during the Obama administration somehow still manages to offer plans at prices that are far too exorbitant for most working class people to benefit from. We're talking about monthly premiums that could rival the cost of a used car note, bills upwards of $300 a month in some cases. That doesn't even include the cost of co-pays for when you actually want to utilize said insurance services. So far, the nation's go-to solution has been for private insurance companies to get in bed with well-to-do businesses, offering wholesale pricing on insurance packages in exchange for steady streams of customers, i.e. employees, willing to pay into the healthcare benefits pool. Instead of universal access, health insurance has, for decades, been inextricably linked with full-time, often salaried employment in America, a benefit only a privileged few will be able to obtain and sustain these days. According to a Gallup Health and Healthcare poll, the year 2022 saw record numbers of Americans delaying medical care due to high cost of services. This 38% of self-reported respondents represents a 12% increase from the previous year, with young adults, low-income earners, and women among the most affected. And, as we know, out-of-pocket costs for uninsured patients are often higher than the cost of services for the insured, though even they suffer high outstanding medical debts. A single visit to a mental health practitioner, such as a licensed therapist, counselor, or psychologist, could run you anywhere from $100 to $250 per hour in out-of-network fees. Medical expenses are the highest form of outstanding debt reported by bill collectors each year, and mental health services represent about 23% of those cases. At the end of the day, when your money's a little funny, that's not the time to break. It's time to get curious and, above all else, resourceful. If you're struggling to afford mental health services without insurance, then please consider utilizing some of the following alternatives. Employee Assistance Programs. Employee Assistance Programs, or EAPs, are a widespread employee benefit that provides care for common behavioral health conditions such as depression, stress, and anxiety. Not only do they offer free, 100% anonymous mental health services for the uninsured, most are open to both full and part-time employees. Here's how it works. First, you'll want to contact the Human Resources Department or Benefits Department of your place of employment. They should be able to connect you with a qualified professional to help support you. Or, better yet, type into your search browser your company name and employee assistance program to get results right at your fingertips. In most cases, your employer has arranged to cover the cost for a set number of provider visits per employee per treatment issue. For example, if you suffer from stress and anxiety, you might be entitled to 5 or 10 visits for the treatment of this issue. Later, if you find yourself experiencing a different set of symptoms, such as grief or depression, you can continue treatment under the same EAP benefit. It's a shame that more people don't know to take advantage of these programs, as many mid-sized and large-scale companies offer these mental health benefits free of charge. Providers demonstrate flexibility to meet your needs by offering both in-person visits and telehealth options via phone and video messaging. Keep in mind that if you choose to participate in an employee assistance program, you may be expected to share proof of employment, such as an employee number, copies of your company badge, or other form of official identification. Warm lines. By now, we should all be pretty familiar with the national crisis hotlines for individuals experiencing mental health emergencies, including self-harm and dangerous ideations. However, a lesser-known version is the volunteer-led Warm Line. Get it? Not as urgent or as pressing as a mental health crisis, but still not completely chill either. You see, it's warm. In all seriousness, one of the most useful skills to develop when protecting your mental health is the ability to self-survey, aka being able to check your own internal temperature before things reach a boiling point. Warm lines are call centers that operate with the express purpose of lending a compassionate, listening ear to anyone who may be experiencing difficulties in life. Usually, warm lines are managed by a team of unpaid volunteers who undergo rigorous training where they learn to put their empathy to good use, de-escalate problems, and spot the warning signs for an emergency. Warm line operators cannot offer advice or provide mental health services to callers. However, given the current loneliness epidemic, warm lines can serve as a useful tool for someone in need of support, especially if not having insurance is preventing you from accessing talk therapy. Keep in mind that warm lines usually operate under a different set of parameters than a traditional crisis hotline. Some are open only during specific hours of the day or to residents of a particular locale. Colleges and universities. The behavioral health industry is currently facing a shortage of qualified providers. Much of this can be attributed to higher consumer demand as changing perceptions and greater support for mental health treatment becomes the norm. We've also seen an influx of new patients following the news of quarantine lockdowns, mass layoffs, and unemployment. Not to mention the cost of living crisis and the reshuffling of values and personal priorities in the wake of the past few years. Luckily, the mental and behavioral health industry will continue to expand as time marches on. The National Health Resources and Services Administration estimates a projected 17% increase in qualified mental health counselors, a 37% increase in licensed marriage and family therapists, and a whopping 114% increase in the prevalence of qualified social workers by the year 2030. Therefore, we can expect even more post-secondary students and practicing graduates to enter the marketplace. This is excellent news for someone who needs to find access to mental health treatment without having medical insurance. Here's why. In order to obtain the essential training to become a psychologist, students must complete a certain number of observation and training hours before becoming board certified. Many colleges and universities provide free or low-cost alternatives to therapy by offering members of the surrounding community an opportunity to seek mental health services from graduate students just beginning their career. Similar to getting your hair cut at a beauty college, these local training clinics provide an opportunity for students to learn under the tutelage and supervision of licensed experts in the field. Meanwhile, patients have the added benefit of behavioral wellness services that won't break the bank. Sliding scale providers. Believe it or not, there are some therapists left who provide reduced cost services to low-income earners on a pro bono or sliding scale basis. The concept of a sliding payment scale is an equity-minded approach to mental health which allows patients to pay at a rate that is directly proportional to their income level. With this model, you will meet with an intake coordinator to discuss whatever issues you are currently facing, as well as provide proof of income and/or employment. The great thing about it is that the staff members are willing to work with you somewhat to find a comfortable flat rate figure that matches your exact financial predicament. Just remember to keep your therapist updated as your income and other personal information changes. One important common sense advice: take your time and do your research ahead of time. In the midst of an economic downturn, there are plenty of people without insurance looking for quality mental health services. Sliding scale providers are in hot demand and usually find themselves brimming with patients no matter the time of year. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, and instead do your research and create a list of sliding scale providers who offer the treatment modalities and services to best meet your needs. Then go down the list one therapist at a time, give them a call, and prepare to make your case. Support groups. Support groups are some of the most therapeutic and rewarding alternatives to traditional therapy. They can be beneficial if you are seeking new ways of treating or improving your mental health without having insurance. Moving beyond the often cited chemical imbalance, so much of the emotional turmoil that we carry can be traced back to a lack of connection, community, and genuine interpersonal closeness. Isolation and loneliness are now considered a part of a growing epidemic, one that carries with it an increased risk of mood disorders, heart disease, stroke, and cognitive decline. Support groups such as online forums, group therapy, and in-person meetups allow individuals to grieve, share their experiences, and learn from others within a compassionate space. Support groups are typically centered around a central theme or issue such as substance abuse, post-traumatic stress disorder, complex childhood trauma, personality disorders, and even narcissistic abuse. Many support groups are 100% free and open to the public. However, some may also offer unlimited access to premium services like personalized calls and texts for a small monthly fee. Certified life coaches. Okay, so just like with any lifestyle change, you need to be careful with this one. There are a lot of quacks out there on the internet claiming to have all the right answers to your problems for just the right price. But if you're struggling to deal with life's many challenges or having trouble reaching your goals, a life coach could be worth a try. While there are many schools and academies that claim to offer formal accreditation for professional life coaching, certification is usually not as heavily regulated or subject to the same professional standards as that of mental health clinicians and providers. A life coach may not be able to diagnose or treat mental illness, but the beauty of the profession is that they are not necessarily governed by the same strict practices as therapists and counselors. For example, due to both legal constraints and their own professional code of ethics, many therapists may shy away from providing direct criticism or advice when it comes to some of your major life decisions. This depends on your treatment modality and the individual, of course, but generally speaking, you can expect your therapist to act as a guide who facilitates your curiosity about your own early conditioning and compulsive behavioral patterns. The right life coach, however, will be unafraid to cut right through to the heart of your issues and will position themselves to both help you structure your goals and immediately hold you accountable for any agreed upon action items and deliverables. Bonus. There's no reason why not having insurance should stand in the way of having access to quality mental health treatment and care. If all else fails, call your handy-dandy 211 operator. United Way is a household name in the development, charity, and philanthropy space and is committed to connecting individuals and families with the community resources they need to thrive. From housing and medical care to educational services and emergency groceries. Dial 211 from anywhere within the U.S. to reach a community operator who can direct your call to local government facilities and or private nonprofits that offer free and affordable behavioral health services for the uninsured. Here's the bottom line. Acting all superhuman and repressing all your unhealed pain and trauma and vulnerability and letting it leak out all over others is so passé, no? Welcome to the modern age, where tending to your mental health is as important as eating fresh fruits and vegetables or exercising your physical body. Still, we have such a long way to go when it comes to ensuring that everyone in our community has access to quality behavioral health services with or without formal insurance. If you or someone you know are still trying to figure out how to access therapy without insurance, try some of the above-mentioned services and start building your own personal arsenal to begin taking care of your mental health. In the meantime and between time, good luck, you got this, and take care.